Hello, everyone. I'm Mark.
I'm Rob.
And welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown, the hottest sports talk show in town. Anyway, we got big news we're going to get to in a second. Caitlin Clark is not on the Olympic team. Diana Taurasi is, and many people are wondering why. Also, don't forget about our live show. That's going to be tomorrow, which is Monday. It's every Monday, actually, except for major holidays. Eastern time, 7 to 8 p.m. And Rob will be there, and I'll be there, and we'll talk about basketball and the NBA Finals, and probably Clayton Clark, of course. And we talk about it whatever you want. If you want to talk about the Olympics coming up, that's fine. Football season, something major comes up, fine. We're cool. Anyway, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We need more subscribers. Really, it's free. No credit card, no anything. And you also hit that like button if you like this video. If you don't, what's wrong with you? No, just kidding. And please make some intelligent, non-insulting comments down below, and I'll try to respond to every one of them. And Rob will too. Anyways, the big thing is that this is not official, but apparently it's official because the sources seem to be definite. They're supposed to announce it Tuesday. So Caitlin Clark is not.
Mark, it's on CNN. Mark, it's on CNN.
What?
It's on CNN, so it must be official.
Oh, yeah,
it's on CNN, so it must be official.
But Jamel Hill said it, so it must be official. So anyways, she's not on the team. There's 12 people. I'm not going to go over to all 12 people. They're all qualified except for Diana Taurasi. And a couple things is, I know people don't like Brittany Griner on there, but she's still one of the top 12 players, U.S. players. And she's only played a couple games this year, but she's back from an injury at least. Chelsea Gray hasn't played in 8 or 9 months, and she's on the team. And there's only like 6 weeks away for her to get ready to play, and she's not on the team. So there is a possibility that she will not play, and I have nothing against her, and I'm not wishing it against her, that she won't be healthy enough to play, and Caitlin Clark be on the team, and all this controversy will go away. One YouTuber said this is scripted, and that's their plan all along, to make people talk about it for a month, and then all of a sudden they're going to put her on the team. And it might happen, but I don't think it's scripted, because I think they're giving Chelsea Gray, who's the best point guard in the league, the benefit of the doubt for her injury, and I think that's what's happening. So let's start. Let's talk about what's really most important is, and we'll get to the other player who is also being snubbed, and I can't pronounce her name, but she's second in the league in scoring. Her name is Enrique Ogunbowale. That's her name, and everybody can look it up. I'm sorry, I can't get all the pronunciations done. We got 6 leagues going on, so please don't pick on me. But anyways, at least I'm bringing her up because and so anyways, let's compare Taurasi and Clark first, and then we'll bring her into discussion, to be fair. Rob, why don't you go over the stats for us?
So let me start with Taurasi.
Right.
So for 11 games, she's averaging 28 minutes. She's averaging 6.3 points a game. And for rebounds, she's 4.5. She's 1.1 in assists, steals 0.6, blocks 0.1, turnovers 1.4, and so assist to turnover is 0.8. That's Diana.
Rob, it has to be a mistake, because Diana Taurasi is the greatest athlete in the history of mankind, and there's no way she averages 1.1 assists, because she's so good at making everyone around her better. That's not possible. Please, is you sure it's 10.1 or something like that? Are you sure?
No, Mark, she's a guard,
You sure
and
she's
she's a guard, and as you know.
All right.
The guard is supposed to pass the ball, so come on, you got to give her. Well, let me tell you about this flash in the pan person here, Caitlin Clark.
All right, go over Caitlin Clark's
stats. She had 12. She's done 12 games. She's averaging 6.8 points a game.
Oh, 6.8. My mistake. Okay, sorry. I thought you did 6.8 before that.
Yeah, 16.8 points a game.
Okay.
5.3 rebounds a game. Let's see. What'd you say, Taurasi? I said 1.1 for assists. Let's see. Caitlin Clark is averaging 6.3 assists a game.
What's the rest of the stats for Caitlin?
And her defense is not as good as Taurasi, I guess. She's averaging 1.5 steals a game and almost 1 block a game, 0.9. The only thing that's really affecting her is her turnover, 5.6. But the assist to turnover ratio is like 1.1. But at least she's passing the ball.
Right. And I'm gonna be straight up. I dislike Taurasi a lot, and but I'm really trying to be objective about this. And if I'm not, you let me know, because that's my goal on this channel, is to be intelligent and objective. But let's just deal with reality. The points were almost identical. Clark has almost more than one rebound. Clark has 6.3 assists to 1.1. That's almost 5 more assists. Her steals, who supposedly can't play any defense, is 1.5 to 0.8. So that's 0.7 more. Her blocks are 0.9 to 0.6. And her turnovers is a lot more, but she handles the ball more, 5.8 to 1.4. And I just want you to know that, yes, she has way more turnovers, but her assist to turnover ratio, which I discussed in the last video, is the most important thing. And she's a positive 1.08, and Taurasi is a negative. She's a 0.78. She has more. She actually has more turnovers than assists.
Right.
Okay. So let's all you Clark haters with the turnovers. Taurasi has more turnovers than assists. So does Juju Watkins, if you're a big Juju Watkins fans. So let's just chill on being obsessed with the turnover thing. All right. So obviously Clark's numbers are better, and she's gotten way more attention this year than Diana Taurasi has defensively. And we don't need to get into that. Everybody knows it's true. The other woman that I can't pronounce her last name that we discussed averages 26.6 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 5 assists, 3.1 steals, no blocks, 0.1, I guess. And then her turnover is 3.9. So she has a positive assist to turnover ratio of 1.28. But shooting percentage, I'll go over the shooting percentage for the three people. Clark, it is 37.3. Taurasi's identical at 37.0 pretty much. And the other woman is 36.4. Almost the same. But at 3-point shooting, Taurasi is best at 36, and then Clark at 32.7 and 30.4. 3-point free throw shooting, they're all great at it. All right. So yes, you can make the argument that Clark maybe shouldn't, and the woman's name I can't pronounce. I'll call her Enrique.
Her name is, let me help you out here. Let me help you out, Mark. It's
gonna look it up.
Ojin Bawali.
Okay. Maybe you could argue. But the point is, what we really should be talking about is why the heck is Taurasi on the team? And that's going to give her a 6th gold medal, which is irrelevant. She's a legend. That's irrelevant. We don't want her to get a 6th medal, put her on the team just so she can break a record to get a 6th gold medal. And this thing about, she's veteran leadership and experience. The whole team that they've selected has a very good experience, and they have plenty of veterans for leadership. They don't need her for that. So that's a silly argument. And then the argument I heard on ESPN and the physicality of international play. I'll get to that. 2 things about that. One, I listened to this YouTuber, and he is I think he's from Ireland or something, and he watches a lot of women's basketball, and he watches the leagues over in Europe. He says they are not as physical as the WNBA. So that the ESPN saying that, he says they're completely wrong and they're lying to you about that it's more physical. I mean, it's like prison ball. How can it be more physical than that? And I've watched the Olympics since 1984. I've watched the Olympics since 1968, but I remember watching the women since 1984 when Cheryl Miller came around. I do not remember it being as physical. In fact, I'm sure it's not as physical in the Olympics as it is in the WNBA. So that's a lie they're telling you on ESPN.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I've been watching as long as you have, and I've never seen someone get fouled like that happened to Caitlin Clark off the ball when nobody was on her, or someone get grabbed by the neck and thrown to the ground.
So I'm going by this guy's who's neutral. He's a neutral guy. He seems to be very objective and neutral. And I'm going from my own eyes and watching the Olympics. The WNBA is more physical than international basketball. And ESPN is lying again to you. And it's disgusting that they're doing that. And here's the thing. If they're worried about physicality, what player in the league has been roughed up and more physical? There's been more physical defensive thing towards what player? Caitlin Clark?
Yeah,
you think she can handle the physicality? I saw a picture of him sitting down. Her head, I don't know if her head's up or down. They showed her elbow, and I think it was on Twitter. Her elbows and her knees are all completely black and blue and beat up. It was like disgusting picture. Like, oh my God, she's like warrior. I thought she was in trenches in World War I or something like that. And so she can handle the physicality. Number one. Number two, she's been doing it, and she's used to it. So how is that a good argument?
Right.
So stop it with the stupid arguments. If you want to say that Enrique's numbers are better than Clark, and that's the reason, fine. But that doesn't get Taurasi on the team.
Well, I think the reason why the international basketball is not as physical is because one is the lane's a little bit wider, but one is they have a strong regulation as far as rules and fouls. So that's the main reason right there.
And Rob, there's another reason. There's only 5 fouls allowed in international basketball. It's a 40-minute game. There's 6 in the WNBA. So they can't be as physical. Otherwise, they'll foul out.
Right.
So stop it, please.
So the
Quit
rules,
lying to me. I'm not stupid, and neither is anyone else listening.
Yeah.
You go watch the Olympics, and maybe we'll be wrong, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. I'm not going to watch the Olympics if Caitlin Clark isn't on the team, first of all. So
yeah, me neither. I
watch the Olympics. I won't watch the women's basketball. First time, I won't watch them.
And it's not. And the reason why we're both agreeing with that is because, I mean, I don't understand. And I'm pretty sure, like we said, NBC is going to be pretty pissed off that she's not going to be on the team because that's what the rating. It's all about the ratings, with TV. Though the ratings will be up for the women's team, just imagine. I mean, it's already up with the WNBA, and now if she was on the Olympic team, the ratings are going to go up to watch her play, see how she plays in a national or international.
Right,
field.
and they put rookies on before who hadn't proven anything in the WNBA on the team before. They did it with Taurasi, they did it with Brianna Stewart, and I think Candace Parker. So that argument that people are, what did you ever prove in the WNBA? What about them 3? Doesn't that count? Of course, this is a tradition they have. So why are they abandoning the tradition? So we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that. The coach Reeves, as everybody knows from Minnesota, Cheryl Reeves, she put this tweet out basically saying, it's not all about Caitlin Clark. What about our team and everybody else? Okay, so you can see something else is going on there. Other people pointed out that she's part of the LGBT community. She's a lesbian. She's married to a woman. Caitlin Clark is straight. I have no idea whether it's a factor. I'm just asking questions. I'm just pointing that out. Taurasi's a lesbian. I'm just pointing that out. You make your own conclusion. I don't think it necessarily is the reason because Kelsey Plum and Sabrina Eskew are both white and they're straight and they're on the team. All right. So I'm just pointing that out. That's all. She said, Clark, I've never been in the trenches with Clark. That's irrelevant. Like I said, there's been 3 players already that's on there. Excuse me.
Right. And I think you bringing it up. I think you bringing it up doesn't mean that that's true. But I mean, you have to bring that up. I mean, it's a something you have to look into it. That could be a factor. Yeah, I'm not saying that it is, but you look into it and see.
I've said this in all my other videos. I can't put my heart and mind into someone else. All I can see is if something becomes obvious, like those 2 black broadcasters who said that when Clark got decked on the ground, that was a flop. And I've heard him say so many negative things about Clark before. I know it's racist because there's no other reason for it. And here, there could be other reasons. So I don't know. So I'm just trying to be fair about it. Right. So this is how it works. If you don't know how it works, USA Basketball has a committee of 5 people, and they do it the same with the men. And they've been doing it this way for years. And then the coach has some say, even though officially they have no say, but they do have a say. We know they have a say because I'm going to tell you the story about Candace Parker in a second. So on the selection committee, I'm not going to read off the 5 names because they keep changing, because I heard there was 5 names, and then Dawn Staley was not one of the people that had say in it. Yesterday I read she did have a say in it. Now, who beat Dawn Staley's undefeated team in their junior year in college? Was it Taurasi? Oh, no, it was Caitlin Clark. Oh, gee, maybe someone doesn't like Caitlin Clark. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying it has anything to do with it. Dawn Staley seems like a nice lady. And she's a great coach. Great coach. I'm just throwing that out there. And she waited till she beat her in the finals before she really praised her too. So just so you know. All right. So anyway, at least she did, which is more than something.
Yeah.
This is what's happened. First of all, the first time it happened was Becky Hammon. Straight white woman, as far as if I remember. I think she's married. She was runner-up in the year before the Olympics. She was runner-up in the MVP voting. Now, that automatically puts her on the team in my mind. She's a point guard, and she's a coach right now. But she wasn't even invited. So I forget what year it was, but she wasn't even invited the next year to the final 24 or whatever it was. Runner-up in the MVP voting, and she wasn't even invited to be in the final selection. Not even on the team, just not even invited. So what she did was she had some connection to get Russian citizenship, and then she played for Russia. And then not everybody, because I hate when people say that, a lot of people gave her a hard time. I didn't. I said, well, that's serves him right. She should be on the team. And that was the first snub. Snub number 2 comes up in 2016. Candace Parker, as you probably know, went to Tennessee. Gino was the coach. I always mispronounce his name, so I'm just going to say Gino. He's the coach. They hate each other, and she didn't. She probably turned down to play for Connecticut. I don't know. She got Tennessee 2 national championships at the expense of somewhat of Connecticut. And anyways, she was on the team before. It played great. She'd been MVP. She'd been All Pro the year before. The next year, she leads the team. That year, she led the team to the championship, got MVP in the finals, and she was still one of the top. She probably wasn't the top player in the league anymore, but she was still in the top 5 or 6, and she was left off the team because Gino hated her. Even though the selection committee, the 5 people, we weren't supposed to be choosing that. That's snub number 2. Politics again. Oh, by the way, the reason Becky Hammon reportedly wasn't invited because Ann Donovan, who's also white, by the way, I don't know anything about sexuality, all that crap. I don't even care. She didn't like her, and that's why she didn't invite. That's a poor excuse. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
number 3 is the other woman. I'm going to go to Jamel Hill for this. God forbid I quote Jamel Hill, but she summarized. Sorry. Okay, so I'll read the entire quote by Jamel Hill, and this is a tweet. Who, please, can someone stop giving her publicity? I don't consider, this is what she said, I don't consider Caitlin Clark being left off the Olympic team a snub. Now, when Candace Parker and Nanika, I can't pronounce her name, Ogwumike, were left off the Olympic teams, that was a snub. True. Nika was league MVP, led the Team USA in scoring a year before the Olympics, and was MVP of the FIBA qualifying tournament. CP had won 2 gold medals, former MVP, a champion, everybody knows. And I think, she says, Nika is the only NBA MVP not to make an Olympic team. She was left off, and that's the excuse they gave, and I think Don Saley was part of the committee, too, because there's a quote from her. I looked this up. I researched this a couple months ago. I didn't research it recently. Because she had an injury or something like that. But it wasn't serious, and she had come back from it. It was a lame excuse. There was some other reason they left her off the team. And I don't know why, and nobody else does either. Okay. And I just want, and also, you notice that Jamel Hill did not mention Becky Hammon.
No.
So the white Caitlin Clark wasn't a snub. Becky Hammon, she forgot to mention his white was a snub. And that was a major snub. So, but the 2 black players she mentioned, I just pointed out. I'm not, Jamel Hill happens to be black. I'm just pointing that out. At least she could have mentioned. At least she could have mentioned Becky Hammon, and then I wouldn't be saying this.
Right.
All right.
And just to the listeners, real quick, the reason why I let Mark talk more than me at this time because I wanted him to get out the information because I was too. I was listening also. I'm not. So it's not that he's dominating the conversation right now. He's also giving me the information too that I didn't know about. So.
All right, thanks, Rob. Rob, so, what is your feeling about the previous snubs, and do you think Caitlin Clark is?
I mean, but that's what I mean about, and I hate, at least like I said when we bring it up, that's what I mean about racism. You tend to you'll focus in on that part, but you'll leave out another part, which she did. So you focus on the 2 black players left out, but if you're gonna write an article or talk about snubs, and the people who didn't make the Olympic team, you got to bring up other ones that were obvious. I mean, why did Becky Hammon have to go over to another country in order to be on the Olympic team when she obviously should have been on the Olympic team, being the second MVP that year? That doesn't even make sense. So this almost like it reminds me of like the buddy system. You see sometimes even when you're trying to get a job or whatever, it's like who you know, But then to dislike, just because you dislike somebody, doesn't mean I don't dislike her. I'm trying to win a gold medal. I don't care. I don't have to. What the heck do I care if I like her or not? Does she play well? Yes. Oh, okay, put her on the team.
Rob, because you said that when you coach girls basketball, how petty and how catty they were not supposed to say, like women say don't like it when you say catty, but there seems to be something to that. And the WNBA seems to be showing that. And men are maybe not catty, but they're jerks in other ways. It's just different attitudes. So we're not saying men aren't as big of jerks as women because they are. I mean, let's say when Isaiah Thomas got left off the dream team, talent-wise, that wasn't right. But at the same time, he's the one that tried to close out, not let him get Michael Jordan the ball during an All-Star game because he was jealous of the attention she was getting. And then he was the one that led the Pistons to not shake their hands after all the Bulls shake their hands 3 years in a row after they got swept 4-0. He was the leader of that team. And he said, well, I wasn't the first one walking off, but he planned it. And you could see them all walking off together. And 10 out of 12 of them didn't shake their hands. And that's why Michael Jordan didn't like Isaiah Thomas. And and guess what? Most of the other players on the Dream Team, from what I read, didn't like Isaiah Thomas either. But so the NBA did it once also. But other times there's been very little snubbing for politics off the team. I'm just saying, it happened once. But that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure it happened.
I mean,
nothing major.
To me, Mark, this seems like they're going along what we're saying about with the referees and stuff like that. They're not going to put her on the team just because she's popular and people are coming to see her. They're not going to use that or like I said with the foul. I'm going to call a foul on her or not call on her because I'm afraid I might get the outside people telling me something. And that's that's what it seems like to me. It's like, we can't put her on the team because then what about they'll say, what about Angel Reese? How come you didn't put her on the team? Or what about this person? The whataboutism would be just, Caitlin Clark can't win. That's just the bottom line. She cannot win.
Rob, I'm beginning to think it's the world against Caitlin Clark. It's not really that way, but it just seems that way. And the reason, listen, this is another thing. Like Gino blamed Caitlin Clark's fans for having unrealistic expectations. Like, okay, that's ridiculous to blame the fans. And now they're blaming the fans again. They're saying, okay, well, if we put her on the team and she sits at the bottom of the bench, at the end of the bench, I guess, then the fans are going to be upset they're not playing her. Well, guess what? They're going to have so many blowouts. I mean, they don't play a lot of games. They don't play 6 games, I think. They have 3 in pool play, and then they will have 3 after that. Obviously, I don't think they're going to lose. And there'll be plenty of playing time to give all 12 players, including Caitlin Clark, because there's going to be blowouts. Yeah, if the game's close and they want, and let's say Josiah Gray is on the team and she's their best point guard and she gets less playing time, no problem. They just want to see her play some. And none of the 12 players are going to get a lot of playing time if the games aren't if the game's close. I mean, if the game's close, just the best 7 or 8 are going to get it.
But I also think if she's on the team, now the focus again is going to be on her. So now she's going to be an international play. And people want to see people international have not. We've seen her, but people in international and other countries have not seen Caitlin Clark play. So she's going to get all this publicity over all the other black, or this, but all the other over players, and that's another thing that probably.
Well, Rob, heaven forbid if you expose the WNBA to an exciting player and try to bring excitement and views into the league, because that's a big market. The way the cable TV is nowadays and streaming, don't they want? Wouldn't the people over in Europe want to watch them play, or anywhere in the world, not just Europe?
Mostly in Asia. I mean, Japan and China have very good basketball teams.
Right, but wouldn't they want?
So why wouldn't they want that? Like I said, Europe, Asia, Middle East, Turkey. They play over in the Middle East. Why? Yeah, like you said, why wouldn't they want this exposure?
And she's like 3 times more exciting than any other women player. So let's just get that out. And guess what? If you have a team of scorers, and I think she's the best passer in women's basketball history, and I know the turnover stuff, that'll all come down. By a large margin, 4 times I'll say like wow in a game. And if you got a bunch of scorers, wouldn't you want a person who loves to pass and does it better than anyone else on your team? That's the perfect, like when you say, like usually you say when you do the Olympic team, I know like Rob thought that Brunson should have been on the team instead of Drew Holiday. And he's right. He's a better player, but Drew Holiday was on there because they didn't have a lot of defense and they lost internationally the year before, not enough defense. Okay. So sometimes you put a person on a team, not necessarily because he's the top 12, but he's still the top 15 or top 20, but because he or she fills a role. And Caitlin Clark fills the role like unbelievably well. And that's a silly reason to keep her off. And you got to put her on there because of her passing alone. And then, of course, 3-point shooting is really important.
Right. That's international basketball, 3-point shooting. You're exactly right. I mean, I would love to see her get the ball, push it up the court, and make a freaking nice bounce pass or a no-look pass to one of the players in for a layup. And the crowd will go wild. The crowd will go wild.
And then
they don't want that. I don't understand. I don't get it. You don't want that because you're so stuck in your reasoning. You don't want that.
if I was at NBC
Oh,
and I owned NBC, or I was the CEO, this is what I would do. I'd go over the WNBA and say, listen, we're going to show none of your games in prime time unless Caitlin Clark's on the team.
I mean, I would go that far. I would go like, I would
Think about the ratings that they're going to lose, how much money NBC is going to lose with her not on the team.
Yeah.
People are pretty upset about this. And, you can say, well, her numbers aren't as good as they should be, and she has improved a lot, but we all know how much attention she's got. And I guarantee her numbers will be a lot better between now and even the Olympics, between 6 weeks from now. Well, and I bet you look at her numbers the last 10 games of the season. They're going to be.
Mark, I'm going out on a limb here. She's going to be Rookie of the Year. She's going to be Rookie of the Year.
No, she's only 6. Rob, don't you follow ESPN?
Oh, who?
Stop it. She's
those
6. Only the 6th best. Some woman's 5th that I never heard of, but she's 6. Maybe she's 5.5, like you said last video.
Yeah, maybe she's 5.5. But yeah.
Right. So let me address that 3-point shooting for a second. There's only 3 things that would result in them losing a game in international basketball. The women's team. Same thing for the men's team. The fact that it's a 40-minute game instead of a 48-minute game, it makes it easier to win a game because you got 8 fewer minutes to catch up or whatever. You have less chances. So luck gets into it. It's single elimination once it gets into the pool plays finish. And the fact that 3-point shooting, if the other team gets hot and you're not hot in 3-point shooting, and a really freaky thing could happen and you could lose a close game in a single elimination game. That's the only 3 things. So it's really important to have 3-point shooters and to defend against a 3-point shot in a single elimination 40-minute game in international basketball.
I watched an international game with Japan and China, and China was the favorite. And Japan didn't have the bigger players or more athletic, but they had this one player. She's a point guard. She could pass. And then also they had these guards who could shoot the 3. And that's why they upset and they beat China because of that reason, because of the 3-point shot.
Right. So there is rumors that the Coach Reeves didn't want her on the team. That doesn't surprise anybody. You saw the quote a month ago that we talked about. I don't know how much say she had. I don't know her reasoning. I don't know why Diana Taurasi's on the team. I don't know why they don't like Enrique. I don't know why I don't know why they don't like her. I have no idea. But if she was on the team instead of Caitlin Clark, I would be less upset.
Right. Yeah.
Taurasi, who's the most overrated player in women's basketball history, in my opinion. And I don't like her, but I'm still trying to be objective. And I'll get into that.
No, but it's pure. But it's pure. It's just pure, like you said. They want her to get the 6th gold medal, which they probably will. But I might not be watching that.
I wouldn't watch. I'm not watching.
I'm not going to be watching that.
On the team.
Yeah, I'm not going to be watching that at all. I'll be watching track and field. I'll be watching track and field. Sorry.
Oh, she is the first alternate. I didn't say that. She's the first alternate, and Brianna Jones, I got her name right? I guess she's a center. She's the second alternate. So if Chelsea Gray is not, as I mentioned, is injured and can't play, theoretically, if Reeves doesn't keep her off, or Clark would make the team. That's what
I think, Mark, because it's such an outrage. Like I said, we've seen it over not just YouTube, over all the social media, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, whatever. The outrage of her not being on the Olympic team could be a factor where they might have to, like you said, maybe change their mind. And of course, NBC, who runs the Olympics, they're going to be like, what the beep are you doing?
Well, also I heard, they're all worried about credit. Like, no one's going to get credit. This team's so stacked. No one's getting any credit for winning this gold medal. They're only going to get lambasted if they lose. So Clark's not going to get all this credit because they win. First of all, they won't give her enough playing time. And so she's not going to get all credit for them winning. Everybody knows they won because they have a stacked 12-person team. So Stop it with the silliness.
Yeah.
My gosh. What is wrong with the WNBA and the USA basketball?
To me, it's very sad and very petty and very, to me, it's very petty and very sad that they're thinking this way.
Well, unfortunately, that's what we're looking at. Let us know in the comments down below about what you feel. You don't feel like Taurasi shouldn't be on the TV. If you're from Connecticut, you're going to make that argument. But the fact that she's a legend is a silly argument. And her numbers don't support. She hasn't made the All-Pro team in 4 years. And I don't think I brought this up. Let me just bring this up now. Okay, so the last time she made the All-Pro team was 2020. She deserved to be on the 2021 Olympic team. Okay, it was 3 years ago because of COVID, as we all know. All right, she deserved to be on that team. She had made All-Pro the year before. I think it was second team. She hasn't made any All-Pro teams since 2020. Okay, none. She's never made an All-Defensive team, and she's 42. She's a liability in the league right now. Not even at upper level of the Olympics, when all the best players are supposed to be playing. She's a liability in the league right now, from what everybody says. Okay, so and your steals and blocks aren't up there, and for heaven forbid if she passes to anybody and gets an assist. So that is the reason I'm arguing she shouldn't be on the team. Okay. The All-Pro team is 10 people. 9 of them are American every year, and there's always one foreign person. That means she hasn't been in the top 9 for 4 years in a row. Okay.
But Mark, she's a leader. But she's a leader, Mark. We need her on the team. She's a leader. She's going to inspire them to win the gold medal.
Oh yeah, like that's going to make a difference. I could coach that team and not say a word, and they would win the gold medal.
Really, seriously, you could coach that team and just say.
I wouldn't have to say anything. I would just choose a starting 5 and do the substitutions and not even say anything in the huddle, and they would win the game.
You were correct.
Guess what? All right, you watching at home, the 10-year-old daughter, she could coach that team, and they would win.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So we're not. And by the way, the argument that Caitlin Clark should be in it, because of the eyes that she brings and all that, I don't consider that a strong argument. I just consider that a small argument. So I don't want to dwell on that. I know that's what the people, everyone making the comments outrageous. I actually think that if she had a normal amount of defensive attention, her numbers would be big enough with people had no choice but to stick her on the team. And I just from watching her play, I think I can't tell for sure. I think she's one of the top 12 players in the league, even though her numbers don't say that because of the turnovers. But who knows? She's had a lot of obstacles.
But Mark, she's a rookie just coming into the league, and she's only played 11 games, so we can't really say that she's going to be a factor.
All I know, Rob, is if she keeps having in games like the other night, I know that was against the weakest team, but if she keeps having games like every other game like that, big games like that, it's just going to be the noise is just going to become louder, and the WNBA is going to look stupider and stupider,
like you said,
and more biased against her.
But like you said, though, it's because that team didn't win a game. They play hard, and this is pro basketball. It's not like
I know. They played good defense against her. Yeah, I'm just saying what the haters are going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I would really love a lot of comments on this topic.
Yes, please do.
Because it is complicated with another player that also you can make an argument should be on the team. She's a guard also. So, and she got snubbed, and we don't even know why. She's part of the group. She's a black lesbian, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea why the other woman was left off the last Olympic team, who was being stuff and was on the team the year before. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on in these women's head and who's on the committee. I don't think it was all women. I wasn't sure. The committee. I think there was a man or two on the committee. I didn't even look at the names. I didn't recognize any of the names, and it was Dawn Staley was on the name now, and it wasn't before. So that's all I can tell you. It's changed. I don't know, but I would love to hear your opinion on this. And if you think we're off base, let me know. No problem. I would put Caitlin Clark on the team for the reasons that I gave. And I think it's a totality of reasons, not just because she would bring eyeballs, but obviously that would help the WNBA immensely. I can't stress that enough.
And when you make that comment, please, when you make the comments, don't be afraid to subscribe too. If you like it, if you like what we're saying, just subscribe. Appreciate it.
I think Jamel Hill was happy about it, though.
Oh, sure.
Because you got to consider that. I think made her happy, made Taurasi happy, and that's not good.
All righty.
So, anyways, live show. We're taping this on Sunday morning, so it'll be up tomorrow. Live show. Rob's going to be there.
I'll be there this time.
Eastern time, 7 to 8. We're going to talk about the WNBA. The NBA Finals, which will have 2 games in at that point. There's a game tonight, and we'll have a video tomorrow as a recap on Game 2 of the NBA Finals. You ignored our last one. All you want to hear about is Caitlin Clark. We got 2,000 views on Caitlin Clark and 8 on the NBA Finals. When I started, it's like, NBA Finals, NBA playoffs. That's so popular. Caitlin Clark is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The amount of attention she gets from people, and they can't get enough talking about her. It's a world against her, though. I think. I don't know. Yeah, not everybody, but it's
all right,
sad.
y'all.
Very sad. So, anyways, okay. So Peace out.
Peace out.